This teeny tiny gap is known as Bhutan, and it somehow survived its inevitable fate of annexation. I mean, it's shoved between two global powerhouses. How did it do this? And that's why I decided to research the entire history of Bhutan. So, an atom met an atom. Both got a little flirty to say. One thing led to another, and the universe was born. Nah, I'm just kidding. That's too ancient for us, alright? Let's travel all the way in the future to the Homo erectus, the first ever humankind species which actually lived long. Eventually they all died, but let's not talk about that. Homo erectus probably were the first ones to ever step foot on the Himalayas. Homo sapiens, of course, eventually got there. Now what we do know is that Bhutan had booming settlements around the Neolithic period. I refer to it as the New Stone Age. It was the age of cereal cultivation and taming animals and milking cows. And hierarchy, everybody's favorite.
Comment box. Ratings. Gargle Chronicles.
Now I think you guys deserve to know this. Bhutan's archaeological studies are literally non-existent. This one article said that the 7th century was the first time when Bhutan was mentioned in any writing. So therefore, before the 7th century is what we would call the prehistoric period. Now the issue is that the prehistoric period is not documented at all or researched on. There are big gaps in what we do know and what we don't.
You know, we have a very good documented history as well, but even within the documented period, there are gaps. There are centuries that go by without a lot of mention, and we have very little to build on. And so many gaps, which can be filled by investigations through archaeology.
The period is of the 7th century and Tibetan ruler Songtsen Gampo has to unite Tibet. But what does he do to do that? He decides to use Buddhism and spreads Buddhism everywhere, even in parts of India and modern Bangladesh. Now, around the same period, a Buddhist saint, which went by the name Guru Rinpoche, decided to visit Bhutan. Now, you see, this Guru Rinpoche guy is unique because he was said to have defeated 8 classes of demons. He was actually known in the street as the demon killer guy. Guru Rinpoche saw the construction of a
monastery
in Paru Valley and decided to say,
"Hey, this is so cool what you guys are doing here and all."
Isn't that the demon killer guy?
Yes, I am the demon killer guy. You guys need to start respecting.
So Mahayana Buddhism spread in Bhutan and Tibet. Now after Guru Rinpoche went back home, we saw an increased influence of Indian politics, and so began the era of Indianization in Bhutan. First we had the Pala dynasty of the Kamarupa region, then the Pala fell, so we had the Kamanta kingdom, wherein we saw the rule of the Ken dynasty. Later these fellas were also defeated by Alauddin Hussain Shah of Bengal Sultanate, and then we had the Koch dynasty who ruled. Wait a minute. What happened to Tibet? The Mongols, the Yuan, the something I can't pronounce, and the Sangpa. Ngawang Namgyal of Tibet was seeing visions that the deities of Bhutan had called upon him to guard the holy lands of Bhutan. Many say this was an excuse to escape arrest. So he went to Bhutan, escaping prison, and made Bhutan a nation state. And then immediately the ruler of Sangpa of Tibet decided that he wants to take Bhutan back. So he went to war. Sangpa, which had existed for a while now, and Bhutan, which was just established. So you would think Bhutan lost, right? No, they won thrice. So Ngawang Namgyal, when he finally thought he could go and meditate, and eventually did go to meditate, saw that the Mongols are here. Why didn't the Mongols disintegrate 300 years ago now? Yes, they did. But this is the Khoshut Khanate, led by Gushi Khan, and he wants to invade Bhutan. So he does, with a strong army of many individuals and the most fierce warriors of the time, along with the skilled forces of Tibet. Sir, the climate is too humid for me. I am going to die. Just one casualty does not matter to us. Keep going, my comrades. Die. Well, I better get going. Mr. Gushi Khan lost. Twice. You see, the way Bhutan's administration worked was that they had this system of Drukgyul Desi. Basically, there were two monarchs, co-monarchy. One was the religious head and one was the headwala head. Oh wait, wrong language. This system was so unique and had a very delicate power balance system thingy, which is why when Zabdrung Namgyal died, they had to keep it a secret. It forces one to wonder how exactly did administration work. Hi, I'm here to meet the Mr. Namgyal. I have some the stuff to offer him. Hi, he's not in court currently. Do you wanna visit him? Yes, of course, that is what I just said. Okay then. I don't see him. Bring in the guillotine. I don't get the joke. The guillotine is going to kill my head. You said I will go to meet him. One person die, he go to say heaven. Oh, I get it. Oh wait, don't kill me. To ensure nobody got a lot of power, what they did was they divided the role of Nagwang Namgyal into three. Now Bhutan had a neighbor known as the Kingdom of Sikkim, and these guys had an even more messed up political system than Bhutan. They just came to Bhutan asking for a little bit of help, and Bhutan, like a good friend, did go down and help. But the war never came to a conclusion because of the Khoshut Khanate. Another neighbor of Bhutan, Cooch Behar, was getting invaded by the Mughals, so they decided to ask Bhutan for a little bit of help. Bhutan helped, and they decided to become good friends forever. Oh wow, so you're telling me somebody assassinated your king? Yeah, I know, right? How could they? So sad, man. You know what? I'ma arrest that petty little assassin. How could he do that? Thanks, bro. Oh. Always remember, man, I owe you one. Well, would you be willing to put this Narayan guy on the throne? I definitely don't have any connections with him. And so Bihar became a puppet of Bhutan. Oh, also the Mughals went away and it was the 1770s and it was the time of... Around the 1770s, the East India Company seized administrative control from the Nawabs of Bengal. Cooch Behar existed at the border of these new British territories. You see, you have to learn how the British ruled India. India was split into different kingdoms of different ethnicities. The Britishers saw tussles between these kingdoms and then they took advantage of either side. The same thing happened here. Bhutan was having difficulties in keeping their puppet happy. Eventually, there was a divide built up between the northern Bengal regions of Cooch Behar and the other regions. The then ruler of Cooch Behar, Maharaja Dharendra Narayan, went to the British for a little bit of help. Hey guys, I need my kingdom back. I heard you guys specialize in this kind of stuff. Yeah, sure, I'll help. So, that's it, no catches. I'm glad you mentioned that. Well, I'll take a bit of money as you signed this contract of protection, and also BTW, the TNC of that document was now. And so the British dragged Bhutan out of Cooch Behar. As a bonus, the East India Company also gained timber resources in Bhutan. Let's go. Now skip to 1838. The entire geopolitical landscape of South Asia is totally different. Now you see, there was this area called the Dwars. Not doors, Dwars. This land was pretty fertile, which is why both the countries wanted it. The British also wanted it. And so they went to a sort of war. I don't really know, I couldn't find anything on this. But the Britishers did sign a peace treaty offering a 10,000 rupee compensation, and the Bhutanese owned the Dwars. But 30 years later, Bhutan decided that they're gonna fight the Brits. All because they wanted control of the Dwars region again. But of course, Bhutan lost the war within 5 months of the war starting, and they were forced to sign what we call the Treaty of Sinchula. Under this treaty, Bhutan was forced to cede the Dwars region to the British Raj, and also this treaty established Bhutan as a British protectorate. All in all, Bhutan lost a lot of money, a lot of land, and a lot of men, along with a lot of external sovereignty. Alright, now that we're done with most of the military stuff, let's go visit the court of Bhutan. What the hell happened there? You see, Bhutan had an ongoing civil administration crisis for a while now, almost resulting in 2 civil wars. And it was all because of these guys, the Penlopes. Penlopes were basically rulers of particular districts. The issue was, these guys were very autonomous. They were basically unanswerable to the dayaks of the country, which is why they did whatever they wanted to do. There was almost no unity between the Penlopes, which is what caused multiple civil conflicts, and it was this weird administration which eventually led to the Dwa War we previously discussed. Then in 1870 came a saving grace for the Bhutanese. It was Ugyen Wangchuk, the Penlope of Rongsa. Now you see, many Penlopes actually turned pro-Tibetan, which is why we needed somebody who was pro-British, and thankfully it was Mr. Wangchuk. So when the reigning Zhabdrung died, Mr. Wangchuk took the throne. Now to stabilize the entire country, he wanted to centralize power, which is why he implemented the Druk Gyalpo system, abolishing the Druk Desi one. In Druk Desi we had 2 rulers, but in Druk Gyalpo there was only one, both for the religion and for the state. Now I know everybody's only wondering one thing right now. What happened to Tibet? Well, I'll give you 3 options. 1, it's big. 2, it's big. And 3, it's big. Well, it was a trick question because all of the options are right, and I was talking about the governance, so you all are dumb. I'm sorry. Please don't get offended. You guys are very smart if you're watching this video, which is why you should hit the subscribe button because now we're near the end. The government of Tibet was very unstable at this point, which is why it was feared that somebody from the Tibetan government might break international treaties and try to interfere with the Bhutanese politics, which is why the Bhutanese and the Britishers decided they're gonna sign a new treaty. It was the Treaty of Punakha. Basically, the Britishers decided to give a bit more money to the Bhutanese, whereas the Bhutanese gave full external authority to the Britishers. Then for the next few decades, nothing much interesting happened except for westernization, reforms, modernization, upgrades, etc, etc. And it was already 1947, which also means that Mahatma Gandhi, Azad Hind Fauj and the gang decided it was probably best if the Brits left India. So the Brits left India, and we're already in the modern times. In 1971, Bhutan joined the United Nations. That was the day it ended its isolationist policies. It was a big step for Bhutan because Bhutan's cornerstones in the modern times was its non-modernness. If you go to Bhutan today, it almost feels like you've traveled back in time. You don't have much carbon dioxide pollution, there's forests almost everywhere, and also they work on the happiness of individuals. But in recent times, there has been a lot of conflict within this serene place. But the government has also done good things such as banning tobacco and efforts towards trying to make the immigrant population feel at home. But these are only efforts. All in all, Bhutan is and probably always will remain one of the most beautiful places in the world. The Bhutanese love their culture, their dresses, their architecture, their festivals, their music, their dance, their families, their cuisine, their sports, and so much more. Along with their women, because Bhutan is a matrilineal society. Oh, that's it? The script ended, guys.
I can't stop, won't slow down, gotta keep going. Storm coming, these waves crash on me, but I just keep rowing.